Time isn't what most people think it is. It's not just a series of ticking seconds or dates marked on a calendar. It's not only tracked by clocks or remembered through celebrations. Real time, spiritual time, is felt through awareness. It's sensed by the soul, not just seen by the eyes. When your spirit truly wakes up, you realize something important. No moment is normal when you're really present. In some moments, divinely chosen ones hold a deeper meaning, a stronger energy, and a purpose that goes beyond what the mind can fully understand. Some days come like quiet messages from the universe. They feel heavier. They carry a wind of change before they even begin. July 7 and July 14 are not just normal days. They are doorways. Not because the world will recognize their importance, but because your soul will feel it. These are not dates to fear, but to welcome with peace and readiness. You shouldn't wait to see what might happen. You should become someone who is prepared for what will be shown. Why do certain days feel more powerful than others? Why does God speak about them with a sense of urgency? It's because inside time itself, there are moments carefully placed by divine wisdom. They are not random or meaningless. They match certain cycles, both universal and personal. They don't show up to destroy, but to wake us up. People who aren't ready may feel these moments as confusion or difficulty, but those who are awake will see them as reflections. These moments are like mirrors. They show you what you're really holding on to inside. Your fears, your clarity, your truths, your false beliefs, your clinging and your resistance. God gives warnings out of love. And through His love, He wants you to prepare, not panic. There's no spiritual awakening without awareness, and awareness comes when you slow down. When you begin to feel the moment before it speaks to you. Most people don't see divine signs because their eyes are stuck on screens, their minds filled with distraction, and their hearts tired from a fast life. They go through life asking, "What's next?" But someone who is spiritually awake asks something else. What's happening now? What's rising in this moment? What energy lives beneath this hour? Why do I feel nervous in stillness? What is life trying to tell me when I stop and listen? The truth is, dates like July 7 and 14 aren't magical by themselves. They are meaningful. They don't change your future. They reflect it. They don't make choices for you. They show you the results of the choices you've already made. If you move through those days without awareness, they feel like nothing. But if you walk into them with mindfulness, you'll notice the shift before anyone talks about it. You'll sense your soul shaking slightly, getting ready for realignment. You'll feel the old parts of you push back while your newer self starts rising. Then you'll feel it's time to decide, time to talk about things you've avoided. Time to let go of patterns that no longer serve you. These days aren't just numbers on a calendar. They are spiritual waves, and only those standing on solid inner ground will feel balanced when they come. But being ready isn't the same as being afraid, and a warning isn't meant to scare. This is where people often get confused. When God speaks, it's not to alarm you. It's to help you wake up. He doesn't want you to run away. He wants you to pause. Fear is the voice of the ego, but the soul speaks through stillness. You don't get ready by hiding or gathering stuff. You get ready by aligning yourself with truth. You clean out your heart. You sit with yourself and ask important questions. Where am I not fully present? What habits am I repeating that come from fear, not love? What truths am I ignoring? What pain am I holding that I haven't faced? These questions open the door to spiritual alignment. They clear the path. They help you prepare not just for certain dates, but for any moment that carries deep meaning. There's an old saying, the one who's always ready doesn't need to get ready. What does that mean? It means your life should become a steady practice. Your everyday actions should be a kind of devotion. You shouldn't wait for a special day to change your energy. You should live like the day is already here. Because the day itself doesn't change you. Your readiness is what gives the day its power. July 7 and 14 might come and go, and many people won't feel anything. But for those who are awake, these dates can be the start of something, a doorway, a reflection, a message, a call to grow, to let go, to align again. The energy of sacred moments doesn't force you into anything. It simply increases what already lives inside you. If you're carrying fear, it'll become louder. If you're carrying peace, it'll grow deeper. If you feel lost, you start looking for clarity. That's why your preparation must happen inside you. No outside shift will help you if your inner world is messy. The tree that stands strong in a storm isn't the one with pretty leaves. It's the one with deep roots. The same goes for your soul. You need to build those roots before the storm hits. You need to stay present before the dates arrive. You need to clear your inner world so outside chaos doesn't knock you over. Ask yourself, what's trying to leave my life before these days show up? What thoughts are no longer helping me? What behaviors must be left behind? What stories need to be rewritten? Don't ask what will happen on July 7 and 14. Ask what needs to change inside you before then. Ask how to become someone strong enough to carry the energy of those days without falling. This isn't about guessing what events will occur. It's about becoming ready to hold what wants to move through you. God doesn't pour fresh blessings into broken containers. He doesn't hand over sacred timing to people who won't grow. If you've felt the call, you've also received the invitation. You are being asked to rise, not because something bad is coming, but because your purpose is calling. But rising doesn't mean rushing. It means returning to your breath, returning to stillness, returning to the truths that were always inside you but got covered by the world's noise. It means trusting that the universe isn't trying to hurt you. It's placing you where you need to be. Every shake isn't meant to break you, but to reshape you. Every pause isn't rejection, but preparation. Every hard feeling isn't danger, it's alignment pulling you into your next level. Many will hear these words and ask, what's going to happen? But that's not the question someone awake asks. The awakened soul says, what do I need to shift inside me so I can stay steady no matter what comes? Because the actual event isn't the main thing. What really matters is how you respond, how clear you are, what state your spirit is in. That's what gives any day its meaning. That's what turns an ordinary day into a sacred one. You shouldn't wait until things start shaking to begin your inner work. Start now. Start in quiet. Start with honesty. Start by noticing your breath, your thoughts, your body, your intentions. Every little thing you do is part of the preparation. Every word carries energy. Every thought is a seed. You are already walking toward July 7 and 14 by the choices you make today. And those choices will shape what you experience when the days arrive. There is no magic in the calendar. The magic lives in your alignment. The power is not in the number, it's in your preparation. But out of kindness, God places strong energies into certain days to help you grow. He places openings in time. And when He speaks, it's not to predict, but to guide you toward that doorway. When He says those days won't be like others, He's asking, will you be ready for something beyond the usual? Will your roots hold steady? Will you be calm enough to hear the whisper? before the wave comes. This is the practice. This is the way, not to wait in fear, but to move with awareness. Not to guess, but to listen. Not to try to control, but to stay clear within. July 7 and 14 will become what they are meant to become. Your work is to become who you are meant to be. Because when purpose meets presence, a date becomes an opening. And when a door opens, only the awake can walk through it. God has spoken, not through fire, but through peace. Not with loudness, but with exactness. Not to scare you, but to bring you back to truth. Awaken now, for this moment is not ordinary when your spirit is alert. There is a kind of language more ancient than any spoken word, a vibration more honest than anything written in books. It is the voice of silence, and it is within this silence that God speaks the most clearly. We often wait for signs, expecting them to arrive with thunder in the sky, lightning in the distance, or the ground shaking. But the most powerful messages don't reach your ears. They come to your inner stillness. When your soul is quiet enough, the whole universe starts to speak. This is why silence isn't just a lack of noise. It is the presence of deep awareness and divine guidance. Those sacred signs that are meant to awaken and protect always begin in that still space within. You cannot receive something you are not open to. You cannot hear divine wisdom if your thoughts are cluttered with noise, fear, judgment, and distraction. The voice of God is soft, not because it is weak, but because it is meant only for those who are truly awake. It does not shout to compete with the noise of the world. It gently whispers to call you out of it. When God speaks of July 7 and July 14 as unusual days, He is not creating panic. He is offering understanding to those who have learned to listen beneath the surface, to those who do not react to everything, but instead pause, breathe, feel, and then recognize. The power of silence lies not in what is missing, but in what is uncovered. In silence, the patterns in your life begin to appear. The truths you've been avoiding come forward. The emotions you've buried begin to rise. Silence becomes the mirror where your real self is seen. And only when you face that true self, with all its confusion, its fear, and its inner wisdom, are you ready for real transformation. Silence doesn't just tell you what's coming. It shows you who you are in relation to what's coming. And that changes everything. Most people go through life surrounded by noise. They measure their days by how many things they finish, how many messages they receive, or how much content they consume. But these are not spiritual measures. They are distractions. The soul doesn't grow through busyness, but through stillness. The world moves fast, but the soul becomes stronger when you pause. That's why spiritual truth flows most easily when the outside world fades into the background. Many people miss it. Not because they dislike silence, but because they are scared of what silence will show them. But growth can't happen if you don't face yourself. God's warnings are not meant to scare you. They are meant to bring you back to who you really are. A warning is a form of grace. It's mercy that shows up as discomfort. It's love appearing as disruption. Only a loving presence gives you time before the storm arrives. Only a divine hand pulls you aside to say, "Get ready." And real preparation always begins within, not in the outside world. And when your mind becomes quiet, your intuition becomes sharp. Your heart starts to speak more clearly. Your breath turns sacred. You begin to notice the energy of everything around you, the tension in the atmosphere, the weight of approaching moments. You begin to sense what cannot be seen. This is what silence gives you. It turns you into someone who can receive spiritual truth. And that truth doesn't usually come with clear explanations. It comes as knowing, a strong feeling that something is changing, that something important is near. That July 7 and July 14 are not just dates, but openings. And openings must be met with readiness. But readiness is not created in chaos. It's developed through silence. In silence, you start to notice your own resistance. You see how uneasy you feel when there's nothing to scroll, nothing to fix, nothing to show. You become aware of the restlessness inside, the urge to be distracted, the fear of just being present. These aren't flaws. They are invitations. Because only when you truly see what's going on inside you can you begin to change it. Only when you recognize your habits of avoidance can you meet them with patience and acceptance. Silence is the root of all spiritual practice. It's not one method among many, it's the core. Without silence there is no listening. Without listening there can be no real understanding. Many people ask for signs, but push away the silence that brings them. They want divine answers, but are afraid of divine quiet. But if you really want to know what God is saying about July 7 and 14, you must first remove the noise within. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the habit of overthinking. These dates are not to be feared. They are for realignment. They don't warn of punishment, but of possibility. They bring not destruction, but a chance to reset your course. And if your inner sense is clear, you won't be afraid of the change. You'll embrace it. Think of silence as a sacred entrance. Each time you enter it, you step beyond the usual. You move into a space where time slows down, where the divine speaks directly to your soul. This is where real preparation starts. Not by changing your surroundings, but by clearing your view of them. Not by worrying about what might happen, but by waking up to what is already happening inside you. Your awareness is your protection. Your clarity becomes your defense. Your presence becomes your strength. Picture yourself waking on July 7 with a calm mind and a wide open heart. You approach the day not with fear, but with focus. You feel the energy in the air, but you're not shaken. You sense the tension, but you remain steady. Because you've spent the time leading up to it listening. You've removed the noise. You've let silence show you what truly matters. That is the power of an awakened soul. It doesn't need to be louder than the world. It only needs to go deeper than it. When God sends a warning, it's a gift. It's a chance to see things before they arrive. It's a spiritual advantage. It's a reminder that you can be steady before the storm. But being steady takes practice. And that practice is silence. Not the kind that hides from life, but the kind that listens closely. The kind that stays present, even when it's uncomfortable. The kind that watches the waves rise without trying to stop them. The kind that hears the voice underneath all the noise. The voice that's been calling you back home all along. The thinking mind resists silence because it can't control it. The ego is afraid of it because it can't perform in it. But the soul thrives in silence. It remembers its truth when everything else becomes still. And in that remembering, you gain the strength to move through intense moments calmly. You become the calm center of the storm, not the one tossed around by it. Divine warnings are not threats, they are invitations. Invitations to become calm before the storm, not to avoid life, but to meet it with strength and understanding. You must learn to trust silence more than the outside world. Trust stillness more than opinions. Trust deep knowing more than surface news. Because everything outside is only a mirror. But what lives inside, that quiet presence, is your true foundation. And when you stay connected to that, no shift in the world can shake your center. July 7th and 14 won't be ordinary. Not because something loud will grab your attention, but because something deeper will ask for your alignment. You'll feel a pull, a pressure, an invitation. But only if you've learned to truly listen. Silence is the space where spiritual strength is built. It's where inner warriors are shaped, not by noise, but by stillness. Not by activity, but by presence. So start now. Begin with a breath, with one quiet moment. Sit with yourself. Notice what rises. Watch your resistance without judging it. Let the silence speak, not with words, but with truth. Let it show you what must be released. Let it show you what's being born. Real change starts with surrender, and silence is surrender. It's the release of control, the letting go of needing to know everything. Don't wait for the storm to begin your silence practice. By then, it may be too noisy to hear. Practice now, while things are still quiet. Listen now, while the stillness is here. Because once you've learned to find peace in silence, you'll carry that peace into anything. Whatever July 7 or 14 brings, you will walk through it not as someone who is scared, but as someone who is awake. Divine warnings are not burdens. They are blessings. They are soft reminders. They are gentle hands guiding you back to yourself. And in a world that runs on noise, your ability to hear God in stillness becomes your most valuable gift. So never forget this. The loudest sound isn't always the most honest. The brightest light isn't always the clearest. And God's most meaningful messages often come not through words, but through silence. The world may not get why you stay quiet while others shout, why you slow down when others race, why you remain calm when others panic. But you will understand, you will know that silence is your guide. Silence is your armor. Silence is the language of divine care and divine love. And within that silence, you will realize there is nothing to fear, only something to hear.